All right. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everybody, depending on where you are. I am Herman, and this is H&D Abroad. Our page is about uh, we are mid-career professionals who are using our interactions with research and people like you to help us decide where it is we want to live. Um, and in our move abroad process. I'm excited today. As you can see, I'm alone today. That's not a bad thing. Today, I am hosting a panel discussion with Black men who have moved or desire to move abroad. In this learning process, we are always excited to have um, people who want to provide resources and information to help us grow. And that's what this conversation is today. So I'm going to slowly bring everybody in so they can introduce themselves. Um, we'll start off here with, hold on, still working on my process here. All right, I think we got everybody here. All right, we start off with Rick. If you'll get a chance to introduce yourself.
My name is Rick Crowley. My wife and I, Halisi, we are Rick and Halisi, and we are at Our Black Utopia. We live in Portugal right now, and looking forward for this discussion with these young men. I can call them young men because I'm probably the oldest person on this panel. Reggie is going to be a new friend, one of our brothers. We appreciate you, and let's get this thing going.
Absolutely. Lamar, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Lamar Martin. My wife Angela and I are Lamar and Angela on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We moved to Querétaro, Mexico back in 2022 in July with our two children and two dogs. And we've making a home here in central Mexico where it's sunny and warm all the time. And we're having a great time, and we're looking forward to having I'm looking forward to having this conversation with all these great black men. And hey, Rick, I don't know if you're the oldest, but I'm close in there because I passed 60 last year, so I'll be 61 this year.
I'm 67.
Oh, okay.
All right. We won't tell anybody. All right, Amos.
Did he freeze?
Amos can
Oh,
Amos,
there he
can you hear
goes.
me?
Okay, I can hear you guys.
There we go. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah,
Can
we got
y'all
you.
hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
That's what's up. Could you open the phone? I'm dedicated, y'all. I'm out here in line waiting for some tickets right now.
Everybody.
Hey, that's Rondell.
Rondell is here. We're introducing everybody. Amos, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello,
Okay.
everyone. My name is Amos Glenn. My wife and I, Joy, have a channel called AG3 Family. We live abroad in Spain. We made the move about 4 years ago, and things are going well. Our channel really was made to just share a story in simple words, to share a story of a move that we made and the journey that we are on together, and hopefully it encourages other people to make the move, to not be afraid. um and we talk about challenges, the good, the bad, and we're so excited to be here today and share with you guys.
Thank you. All right, Cortez, it's yours.
Hey everybody, I'm Cartez Ross here with Move Abroad and Thrive. I'm currently here in Mexico, Merida, Mexico, with my wife and three daughters. We've been here now going on about 20 months, And you know, in that 20 months, we're just really starting to get the real feel of things and starting to really feel comfortable. The first 20 months has just been a complete whirlwind of medical emergencies here, trying to figure out the healthcare system, getting locked up in jail for a couple of days in Mexico. And so it's been a wonderful ride, but a very wonderful experience. Our daughters are learning Spanish. And so, I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. So I look forward to listening in and learning other stuff from the other members here on the call, and just looking forward to being a part of this team.
All right. Rondell, tell us about yourself, my friend.
Hold on, this is Simon Passing. All right, we are Big Yarbros, traveling around looking for a place to call home. We're in Copacabana right now, heading out to Carnival, in a nice long line. Getting ready for Carnival. It's supposed to go from like 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning. So, no, again, we just same old thing, man, trying to spread the word and let people know that it is not scary out here. It's safer out here. I hate to hear about you going to jail, though, bro, in Mexico. God, hey. But, I feel safer out here in these international streets than I ever felt back in the States. So I'm just trying to spread the word, y'all. It could be better abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. And we have a special guest with us today. Reggie he doesn't have a channel. He is, like myself, still in his search process. So if you want to tell a little bit about yourself, Reg.
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. I feel honored to be amongst these great Black men who travel and live abroad. I don't have a channel, but I have worked abroad professionally. I have worked in Madrid, Spain. I've worked in Guadalajara, Mexico, and in Canada. And my wife and I are about 1 year to 2 years away from retirement. And thanks to your channels and other channels like yours, we are considering moving abroad. We will be going to Ecuador next month for the first time. That is one of the places under consideration. I look forward to a conversation with you all. And again, thanks for having me.
All right. I appreciate
Thanks for
it.
being here.
All right. So we're going to jump straight in because both Amos and Rondell have other events that they're attending. So we got about 30, 40 good minutes with these gentlemen. So we're going to jump in hard. The reason I requested this conversation today, when we began our search on what are Black men doing, when Black people are moving abroad, I wanted to see what Black couples were doing. And I was really struggling finding Black men with a partner who moved abroad. I saw a page that a young lady had, and she interviewed her husband. She had been in Mexico a year before he moved there. Then there was what I felt was a really moving conversation between Lamar and Angela, one of their first videos, getting your spouse on board. And that conversation, Lamar, you really touched kind of what I thought was some of the core and the energy of the fears, concerns, the lifestyles men have when we're trying to move abroad. You mind giving us a little bit of feedback about where you felt you were when you were moving abroad?
Well,
Move abroad?
Right. So when all this started, Angela started looking, especially for retirement, probably 10 years ago. But when the pandemic happened, our housing situation occurred, some negative things there. My disillusion with the American dream kind of swayed me the other way. But previous to that, all this moving stuff, for me, wanting to move out of a comfortable situation was not my idea of something I really want to do. And so what it came down to, and I explained earlier, is not something that I want to do, but it would have to be something I have to do. Like if your jobs and things dry up in your area, you have to move and go find other employment. You don't want to, but you have to because you want to survive. For me, wanting to survive in the United States was becoming more and more of a stressful complicated, drama-filled, ludicrous kind of existence of getting up, go to work, come home, go to bed kind of deal. And that became monotonous. And so I became more disillusioned with the American dream. So when she came to me late 2020, early 2021, to talk about moving to Mexico, my perspective had changed. And so I was more on board with making this change. I had no expectations of Mexico. I didn't believe the lies that were being told about Mexican citizens, that they are, drug dealers, criminals, and things like that. That doesn't exist. Unless you travel in those circles, unless you travel in the cartel circles, you have nothing to worry about. These are hardworking, go-getting folk here, and they have been nothing but great and kind to us since we've been here in Mexico. And I actually am enjoying it and loving it here. I'm having a great time here in Querétaro, Mexico.
I know that a lot of motivation for the Black men I've seen moving abroad has been work. I know that Rondell, I think when you originally moved abroad, it was employment based, right? That was the original reason was moving.
Well, no, I was corporate actually, but I took a much lesser job to escape the states. Started teaching English about a quarter of the pay I was making, just because it needed to get out, man. It was suffocating, and life abroad is just so attractive. My wife and I would take little vacations all the time to go to different countries, and man, it just seemed like they were living a lot less stressful lives. So we wanted to join in the fun. Less police, less drama, less shooting.
And I know that that's been a big motivation. All of that has been a big motivation. Did anybody else move for work? Did anybody else make a choice to move because of work? Or was everybody?
I did. Yeah, I moved. I recently left the military, and after the military, I wanted to make a transition and work abroad. I was really looking hard for something, but in specific, I wanted my family to come with me. And that was a key thing for me, because, I've deployed a lot and I've been in a lot of places that, families can't be. And I wanted to get away from that. So when Spain presented the opportunity, my wife was like, well, when we going? So, it was a beautiful thing to be able to work abroad and bring the family along and see the kids progress, and be challenged with a different culture, a different language, and to see them take it and run with it was beautiful. It is beautiful, and the stories continue to be written in our lives. So,
understood. A couple of weeks ago, we did a video on convincing your partner to move abroad. Did anybody really have to be convinced? Is anybody in the process, or were you the person who had to do the convincing?
I was definitely the one that had to be convinced to move abroad initially. So, that happened for a couple of years. But like I said earlier, once things started to become very clear to me how things were going to go, it was time for us to roll out, to make a better life for my kids, for my family, and then ultimately for us as retirees. Eventually, it was something that had to be done.
So everybody here is with their spouse. I know that Amos and Cortez, if I remember correctly, you also have your children with you. So one of the things that is discussed, and I think both Lamar and Rondell mentioned, is some of the stereotypes, some of the misinformation about moving abroad. Is there's going to be, you're going to be in danger, or there's trouble going to happen, or we as Black people are going to be mistreated. How do you gentlemen feel having your families, not just your wives, but your children with you as well, outside of the United States? Have you had any conflicts or anything that's brought you any concerns? Take your mute off, Cortez. Unmute yourself.
Oh, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah, for us, no. Now, I will admit, when I first got here, just to be on the safe side, because it was just me and my daughters, I ended up getting a house that was on the wealthier end of town, wrapped behind a wall with security guards, just to be certain. You know, I said, okay, while we're out exploring things, whenever I leave the house, I just want to make sure the girls are good. So I got, I went through that extra step. Although people told me it was going to be safe, coming in new for the first time, not knowing anything about Mexico, I just wanted to be covered as much as I could. Within 3 months of being in the city and going around, all of those negative thoughts that I had and preconceived notions, they completely went out the window. My daughters are now 14 and 15. My other daughter just showed up. She's 20, but they get in Uber, they go to the mall, they go downtown in Central, they go shopping, they hop on their bikes, they go to the movies, they do whatever they want. In fact, my daughter is going to meet up with some local friends that she met here, and they just going to be downtown in Central just hanging out. So they made local friends. The friends tend to look out for them, keep an eye on them. And so all of those concerns and fears that I initially had, when they tell me they're going somewhere, I'm like, all right, just check in every hour. Just let me know that you're good. I mean, I don't feel the least bit of concern at all.
That's big. What about you, Amos?
I would have to agree with Cortez. My story is similar. I have a 13-year-old. He's the oldest, and then I have an 8 and a 6-year-old. But my oldest hangs out just like Cortez's daughters. Like, he has local friends who he's very close with. He plays basketball downtown. Here we live in a smaller town, so he walks everywhere. I couldn't do that growing up. I had, I had to make sure I'd walk during the daylight, but he can literally walk at night and have no issues. And I didn't know anything about Spain. Okay. I'll just say that. I didn't know much. So coming into the culture, you always come with a guard up. That's what we do. We have a particular sense of security, and we have that. And I went in with that, and like Cortez, that security blanket went down in a short amount of time once I realized that there's really no imminent danger. It's really nothing to be looking over your shoulder and worried about.
Right.
We proceeded with caution, and we were not let down. We were surprised, actually. So, yeah.
That security blanket. Anybody else go through that exhale moment when you're abroad? You're like, "Ooh, it's not that bad out here,"
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We came here with our 16 and 17-year-old, and my son goes out of here up the street to play basketball. He's made some friends at the basketball court. He rides his bike out in the neighborhood, in the community. We ride our bikes. And yes, there was a moment where, going into Central, going to the mall, and we live near Antia Mall, which is one of the largest indoor malls here in Latin America. And just being here in the neighborhood, people are so friendly, helpful. We've had no issues. I mean, it was a short break-in time for me. I feel very relaxed. I don't feel fearful of anybody out here, coming after me, jumping me. Of course, you have your homeless here, but they're out here hustling. They've got their little crafts that they've made. They're selling stuff. They're not just, out here begging. They're selling wares and stuff as they're out there on the street. So I'm very comfortable here. I don't have any issues. I don't have that fear when the police come by that, I'm going to get pulled over like I did when I was in Maryland near the DC area. So I'm very comfortable here. No problems at all.
We brought when we came to do our visa process in November, we brought our youngest. He was still 17. He just turned 18. We brought him so that he could be a part of the process. And he's an Alabama born and bred young man, and he was excited. He was excited to be in a new space, and they get comfortable in their own little world, and he was dragging me down the street, and that was encouraging for me to have a young Black man in my house who I didn't feel afraid because he was 20 feet away from me, walking down the street by himself because he was around the corner in a space, and that was heartwarming to me because my middle child and my youngest are boys, and every time they leave the house, every time they get in the car, I'm terrified because as they're getting older, they come home later, they leave earlier, they stay out longer, and looks like we lost Rondell there, and that worries me. Reg, is there anything that in your process of trying to move abroad and make decisions, is there anything that you want to ask these gentlemen live?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my questions is, as I mentioned, my wife and I, Trudy and I, are nearing retirement. However, we still might want to do some work, via internet on our computers. Do any of you engage in any businesses using your computer and the internet while living abroad?
Well, we have our YouTube channel, and we also work with a young man that we kind of helped him out starting something up. As far as for other companies and stuff like that, no, but it's allowed. It depends on what visas you come in on. I
Wow.
believe if you come in on a retirement on a D7 visa that you can do work. The thing is being able to support yourself and not take jobs away from the Portuguese people. But then they
Understood.
have digital nomad visas for people that are just coming here and they just want to be digital nomads, and they just started that one not too long ago.
Right. And that's what I would be more looking towards.
A digital nomad visa.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I don't know if they have an equivalent thing in Ecuador, but I would imagine that they do.
I would think that they would. Pretty much a lot of places you go have the same similar visas, maybe called something different, but they do. I know they just shut down the golden visa in Portugal. Said no more. You can't buy your way in, not like that.
I see.
So they just shut that down a couple of days ago. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I got earlier this week was, do you think, for those of you, since Rick told us he's the oldest man here, do you think you could have made this kind of decision in your 20s or 30s? If you think if the opportunity had been presented to you, do you think you would have made that choice?
I was in the entertainment industry, and I was in a singing group, and we used to travel all over the country. The furthest we got out of the United States was Canada. We performed in Canada. We had opportunity a couple times to go to Japan, but you think about it, but then you're young, you're running around, you're not really caring. So I mean, I was living carefree and stuff like that in my 20s because I was on stage everywhere, and I wasn't feeling anything but the stage. It didn't make a difference where I was doing it, just as long as I was doing it. As far as maybe not 20s, but as I got older, if the opportunity would have raised itself, I think I would have re-looked it. I think I would have reevaluated and say, hey, there's more to it. Because then I start realizing there's a big world out there. and there's more to it than just being in the United States.
Mm.
But it wasn't as crazy as it was anymore, like it is today either. You didn't have mass shootings every other day.
Right.
So,
Right. One of the things that came up as a concern is our natural desire to take care of the things that are going on around us. If I have young children, am I taking them away from their grandparents? If I move now, like I mentioned to you earlier, I'll be 50 this year. My wife and I are the oldest of our siblings, and our parents are aging.
mhm.
Am I neglecting my family? Am I neglecting my parents in their challenge years, if I move out of the country? Am I leaving them because they may or may not be willing to move with me? If you know what I'm saying,
Right.
my mother's health is in a state where that's not possible. She has picking up she and my father and taking them out of the country is not an option. If I
Right.
leave the country, am I leaving them behind? My children are in their early 20s. They're in that developmental stage where they bounce in and out of the house. If I leave the country, am I leaving them behind? We battle with a lot of those insecurities about family. How do you gentlemen how did you decide to balance that in making a move?
You want me to start? So, well, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. You could look at it differently. We had a different view of different things because we were older. And I can understand if you're younger doing those things. But first of all, your life is your life.
Mhm.
You got a certain amount of time that you're going to be here. And you have to live your life the way that you want to live it. If you are a caretaker for that family member and there is nobody else to take care of them, I can understand where that tug is. But
Mhm.
my father-in-law, my wife's father, has dementia.
Mhm.
Physically, oh my God, he'll probably outlive me. But the thing is yes, she had to take care of him before we came to Portugal. She had to take care of him and do all the things, but she can only do so much and go so far. And then you have to have professional help.
Mhm.
So, which we did. We sought all the things we need to do. We put him in place where he needed to be. He's safe. He's secure. He's okay. She still deals with stuff from the United States, but you have to stop and think if you're taking your kids away or something like that. They got flights back and forth to the United States all the time. They can go back and visit. You can go there for extended amounts of time to take care of family members or be around family members because there's only so much you can do if somebody gets older or if somebody gets sicker.
Mhm.
And where we lived in Denver. So we lived away from pretty much the whole family. And not a whole lot of people came to visit us when we were there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're deserting them
Right.
or leaving them behind. No, we can catch a plane and get there.
That's
So
a good point.
Yeah, and I
I
agree
don't
with.
feel guilty about it.
And to piggyback off of what Rick said, I agree 1,000%. You got one life; it's your life. Um, our our family members, they chosen their path and they're living theirs. They had their chance. Now it's your turn. I have a young lady that just recently, she's been here now a year. Her mother is 93 years old, and has dementia. And she figured, she was like, Cortez, if I wait, it might be another 10 years before my mom, transition. And she was like, I can't wait. I gotta go now. I gotta take care of me. If I'm not in a good position to take care of myself, I'm unable to take care of my mother. So she brought her mother to Mexico.
Mhm.
She was paying thousands of dollars every month on assisted living facilities there. Brought her mother here and paying about 80% less. for better care. That her mother's getting now in Mexico, which frees up even more money, puts her in a better state to take care of her mother, as well as her daughter, and because a lot of that stress is gone. And and to speak to the young children, we have 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy. And my 20-year-old, she just recently arrived in Merida about a month ago. She was like Rick said, she was one of those girls that was just kind of in transition, trying to figure her way out, stumbling along the way. And it was like, you know what, get your butt on the plane, you moving to Mexico. So we got a emergency passport put on the plane. She's here now. And now she's trying to identify some things that she want to do. And, I'm giving her 2 years. I'm like, for the next 2 years, we're going to hammer this thing out. And if you want to stay, you can. If you don't want to stay, you can go back. But right now, we're going to get it figured out. So as Rick said, they're the airplane they can hop on. And, if the other kid, if he needs some little help, same thing, because I have no plans or intentions of going back. So they will have to come see me. Or, I'll definitely go back and visit on the holidays and stuff like that. But for us, for now, this is home, and you'll figure it out. You'll adapt. You just got to take that first step, walk to the stop sign. And once you get to that stop sign, look left, look right, you will see which way to go. And so I would say just come, and whatever scenario come up, you'll figure it out.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, for me and my wife, it was a point in our life where our parents were all elderly, had different illnesses, and they transitioned from 2015 to 2020. So they're all gone now. So that part of our lives had changed, and the involvement with our children had also changed because they're gone. So the decision to leave from that standpoint was not something that we had to consider anymore because they had gone on. So the only relatives that they had any kind of interaction with their uncles, and like Rick said, living in Denver, people live nearby, and they rarely came by, if at all. So it wasn't a major issue. And you can hop on a plane and go visit. They can come here. We have a very nice house. They can come here and visit us and stay for a week or two. We actually have a house that has an extra large suite on the front that has a full kitchen and bathroom, 2 bathrooms, full bathrooms, and a bedroom. So they can come stay with us for a week or two if it's not being used as our Airbnb, which we have set up. So they can come here and visit. Nothing's stopping them. Just get a passport, come and visit. If you can work remotely, we've got great internet. No big deal. But the transition to move here for us was a simple choice to make.
Wow.
Excellent. Okay, so let's deal with the safety issue because there's a question that as black men, we have our experiences that are the American experience as black men. You all are living in a diverse group of places: Mexico, various parts of Mexico, as well as Portugal and Spain. As black men living outside of the United States who are identified, and being specific, who are identified as American black men, how do you feel abroad? How do you feel safety wise? How do you feel when you are alone without your family walking the streets in someone else's country?
So I'll start off. So first, when you leave the United States and come to another country, all this stress, that US stress just kind of leaves you.
Wow.
And you have to relearn things. Like, just for an example, before I get into it, is going shopping with my wife, grocery shopping. And I have grocery bags, right? So in the US, if you have grocery bags, you really anticipate walking into another store with those grocery bags. And I would stand outside the store, and my wife was looking at me saying, "Why are you standing out here?" Well, you know, I don't want to walk in there and they think them people ain't paying. You don't mind? Everybody's walking. Everybody's walking and carrying grocery bags. So it's normal. Everybody's going to have. So you got to get rid of those American isms that's so deeply entrenched in us.
Mm-hmm.
Safety. My wife can walk out of this apartment right now and walk around this city and be fine. She would be fine. No one's messing with her.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's not, ain't nobody running up trying to rob you in there. The biggest thing here is pickpockets. If anything, and that's anywhere you go that there's tourists and stuff like that, but you know what to watch for. You feel safe. The cops, you know, cops are helpful. They're not looking at you, checking you out, and pulling you over because you're walking down the street while being black. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. So all those isms, you just got to get used to. You got to get used to shedding the Americanism because it's different out here. Don't get it wrong. Every place you go has crime.
Mm-hmm.
Every place you go, there's somebody that don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, there's racism everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You know, you don't see it all the time in Portugal, and I'm sure in Mexico too. I see me every day. I see me every day, everywhere I go. And the Portuguese people talk to me like I have to say, you know, no, I don't speak Portuguese. I'm learning. Then they'll speak English to me. But it's you see yourself. And when you see yourself constantly and you're not being threatened, you're not being, you know, shunned or anything like that, you feel good. You feel real good. And you feel relaxed and you feel that your family is safe.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, we're not seeing on the news every day about the school got shot up, that school got shot up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah. Here in Mexico, there's only one firearm store here, and it's in Mexico City, and it takes an act of God for you to get a weapon like that. And if you don't have a retail or a tienda establishment where you would require some kind of security like that you provide yourself, it has to stay in your house. So this is why you don't see Mexico, Portugal, or any of the countries that these gentlemen are living in, where they have these mass shootings that you see in the United States. To date, I think in the United States, it's 74, 75 mass shootings since the beginning of the year. It's sad to me. It's sickening. And so my wife can walk from here. She has done this a couple of times where our oldest dog requires some vet care, and the vet is in the city right up the street. And she has walked up there with the dog. She has walked to the little tiendas to get fresh fruits and vegetables, to the bakery, and she's never felt afraid or had to look over her shoulder. And like I said earlier, my son goes up into the city to play basketball, ride his bike. We've ridden our bikes all around the residential areas here and through the city, and no issues. We've gone down to Central here in Querétaro. No issues. I don't feel unsafe at all. I don't find myself looking over my shoulder. As a matter of fact, the police here are helpful. They see you out here, they're not coming up and watching you because they think you're going to commit some crime. They're watching and say, hey, can I help you, direct you? What are you looking for? And give you directions on how to get to places that you need to go. So there's no issue here. Our handyman said to us that he hates racism and there's no place in the world for it. And he said that he's glad that we're here because I'm a good person, just like he's a good person. I'm somebody who's a human being, just like he's a human being, and we should all get along with each other.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah, that will take some relearning. It's really good to hear that.
Yeah. It does. But you get there, you learn, and it's like, why am I tripping?
Right. Exactly.
I'm tripping. Everybody else is fine. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Rondell's back.
Good to see you back, man. All right.
Sorry, man. Sorry. No signal on the inside. What's up, bro?
He's got a whole party going
Man,
on.
there's so much blackness out here in Rio de Janeiro. Man,
Hey,
so much
I'm
blackness.
gonna ask you a question, Ron, that I just asked these gentlemen. How do you feel as a black man, your personal safety when you travel? Because you've traveled a lot of places in the world. As a black man, how do you feel when you travel around the world?
I guess it requires like a little context. Like in the vast majority of places, well, everywhere, I feel safe as a black man. But there are some like Rio de Janeiro. It's just dangerous over in certain areas. You know what I mean? You gotta watch your back. Like I'm on a phone where I should not be having my phone out right now. You know what I'm saying? But it's all right, man. As a black man, I feel secure everywhere I go. We're pretty much celebrated, especially like in Southeast Asia and through Latin America. You know, it's close to a pretty much a celebration of our culture because of what we have presented around the world. You know,
Hmm. Okay,
I guess that's my take.
understood. I got a question here from Big Sis Dula, and I think it ties into a bit of a conversation that they're having. Wait, that's not the one. That they're having on the side here about black people and passports. She asks, what is the difference as black men when you were able to transition from I like to travel to I can see myself living abroad?
I think the difference is when you go somewhere and you actually feel that you can be sorry about that, that you actually can feel to be a part of that society. When you go, we went to South Africa, was our first real big trip out of the country. And we were there for a month, and Halisi was doing some stuff because she was going for her master's degree. And I just filmed. So I went and filmed all these different townships. That was my job every day, to go to these different townships and film people and film students in school and stuff like that. And you feel that you could be a part of that and really, really get the experience of feeling safe.
Hmm.
And then went to Spain, and I felt that in Spain, different things in Spain. And it was like, oh my God, I went to Barcelona and fell in love with it. And that's where I decided I could really live here.
Wow.
I could really live here because we walk everywhere. So we walked all over Barcelona and stuff like that. And then I came across our Rich Journey folks because I said, I wonder if they got black people in Portugal. And they popped up. So, and then, in Portugal just wrote its own story. As soon as we came out of the airport, it was like, wow, okay, let's see how this goes. And you just feel that you feel welcome. You feel no one is looking at you like, what are you doing here? You ain't got the Kens and the Karens or anything like that. So my thing, and I always tell everybody in my family, because most of them don't have passports, get a passport, travel the world, get out of the United States, go see how it is, because life will change for you. And you'll see that, hey, there's a whole lot more to offer outside of it than inside of it. So get your passport.
Yeah, that's good advice, Rick. I agree. I don't remember an exact aha moment that was like, I can see myself living abroad. It just kind of happened once you step outside of what you're used to and you make that step and you go out and you have an open mind and you give it a try and you'll see. You'll see, because honestly, that life is going to show you what you're looking for. And you find it, and that's what happens when you open yourself up. But you gotta get out of what you're in if you think you want to see something different, and you gotta try it. And until you do that, you're not gonna know. You're gonna get stuck in a rat wheel,
exactly,
hamster wheel, and you're not gonna know what's good out there. So.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't a particular moment, but it was a bunch of moments of having to go back to the States, getting back in my car at the airport, looking for the police as I'm hitting the corners, going back in that winter weather, coming from some sunshine and hitting that winter weather, like, damn, that's right. I'm going home. Like that got real old, like my third year traveling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bet. Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
we went down to Mexico. We went down to Mexico in November to get our residency done. We were there 2 weeks, to give ourselves a chance to make sure the process would get through and to give ourselves a chance to do a little scouting. That was the hardest flight back, and and the landing was even worse because I got back home and I was like, I love this house, but man, this is not. It's not Mexico City. This is not Puerto Vallarta. I need to get out of here. And I know that
Borderline depression, brother.
yeah, man. And I know that this trip that she and I are taking to Morocco is gonna make it worse. Because putting my feet on heritage terra firma is a goal of mine.
Wow.
To be able to land on the continent and then have to get back on the plane and come back. I'm not worried about the 24-hour flight. I want to be where I want to be. And this whole journey process has been about that search. And you don't realize that the passport issue is a big deal. How do we encourage Black men to get their passports, to be prepared to have the opportunity to travel?
If somebody has the answer to that, I'd like to know. I'd really love to know.
I think you all have the. I was going to say, I think you all have the answer by sharing your experiences.
Yeah.
You don't know how much that has helped myself and my wife, looking at, honestly, you see videos from other persuasions, I'll say,
Right.
and that's awesome. As a matter of fact, the first person that we met from Ecuador was a white woman. She used to live in New Orleans, and she just glowed about it. She's talked about it so much, and it sounded great. And I started seeing videos, and it was all white people. And then I started seeing what was the African American in Ecuador YouTube channel, and I started seeing you, Herman, yourself. You introduced me to more people, and I said that's what made it a little bit more inviting to me, that I wouldn't be the only one traveling. I have been in so many corporate situations where I was the only one. I used to be a consultant, and I would travel throughout the country in boardrooms. I was the only one. And I feel like I have a family already there in Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been my switch, which helped me to, instead of it being a pipe dream, make it more of a reality of something that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's interesting? That part. I think a lot of people don't recognize like the Black experience is like pretty much everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like we're able to relate to the people here in Rio de Janeiro, in different places all over the world by that struggle. Like what we're going through in the States is a little bit more extreme than in other places. But there is that connection. The diaspora, that connection is real over here.
Wow.
And I think if people can understand that through the videos and whatnot, I think it'll be a lot easier to make that transition.
Absolutely.
People can see themselves there and connecting to a community.
Yeah, I see it as a hostage kind of situation with us in the United States, a Stockholm situation where you're in an abusive relationship, just like a woman who doesn't find the courage to leave a man that's beaten her and treating her bad. The United States has treated us horribly for over 400 years. And so it's difficult for us to actually jump up and go. And all it takes is us, a few, to start putting the word out, to start leading people out. Because our landlord even told us that in a news story here, that there are more and more Americans moving to Mexico, and specifically Black Americans. Mm-hmm. So they're seeing this surge of people coming in, and they're changing the rules day by day here on how much you make, how much you have to have when you come in. And they're starting to scrutinize people more and more because people are leaving the United States because of what the United States said it was, but in its schizophrenic, drama-filled way, and it's now they're saying the quiet things out loud.
Yeah.
You're starting to see the problems that have been there all along. It's not something that has emerged and was like, oh, this is a new thing. No, this is something that country was built on. And speaking on the going back home, I recently had to go back home for a funeral. Unfortunate, but it's a part of life. And when I got there, I had this nervousness, this uneasiness as I was driving the vehicle, because now I had to put my guard up because I was driving a rental vehicle from the airport to my sister's house. And everywhere I went, I saw cops on the road. And I was thinking they're watching me. So I was really nervous and actually very homesick, but not for the United States, for my home in Querétaro, Mexico. And I wanted to go back home.
Yeah.
Yes,
We were just in Manchester. We did a house sit in Manchester for Peter the cat. Shout out to Peter. And after that week, I wanted to come home. I was ready to come home, but not to the United States. I wanted to come home to Lisbon. They're like, just take me home. Take me home. Rondell.
Hey, we coming to visit y'all out there too. We coming to visit y'all.
So Rondell and April had did a video, and one of their videos they were talking about how when they get on the bus and travel around in Mexico and stuff like that, that they see faces, but they don't see our faces of the young people.
Mhm.
They see, the other persuasion's face. And he really, really made a point in saying, we need to get our kids out here in these streets. Instead of getting shot up there in the United States streets, they need to be around these streets learning other things, learning different languages, meeting people from, different places and stuff like that. So that was the one thing that I had a family member, my oldest daughter, came to me and said, when I asked her thoughts, she said, no, Dad, you need to do it. You got to do it because you are opening the door for everybody else. You were saying it's okay to do.
Exactly.
At my age,
Yeah.
it's okay to do.
Yeah.
So what's holding them back? I don't know.
My answer to the passport question is this moment right here. You all publicly, I want to say that you all have been a motivator to me to really dig into this Move Abroad research process. Watching Rondell and April travel all over the place and have fun, having conversations with Rick and Halisi about finances, listening to what I consider to be a very intimate, personal conversation between Lamar and Angela about, making decisions about where they lived based on a compromise of the choices they wanted to make in their lives and things that were important to them. Here, Cortez dig in deep, talking about, struggles and family life and the challenges that watching Amos raise his kids abroad. Those things are motivators for me to do things I haven't done before. Yeah. This is a movement that I think many of you didn't exist a year ago.
Right.
Many of you didn't exist a year or a year and a half ago. And there are other pages, Why Not Now? And even the things with Our Rich Journey. There are other small pages that are Expat Life Ghana, where you see Black people married together, loving each other, taking on the world. That for me is a motivator. And I think if we can keep growing this process and keep reaching out and even keep having these conversations, then we can motivate our brothers to challenge the world, to go see the world, to realize that they have a stake outside of just the US. And what has been home, not home for 400 years.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing all the brothers I can see to show up and join in the chats and stuff on the channels. Come on out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The water ain't cold. It feels good. Come on out here.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, you got like-minded folk.
Yeah.
Everybody's like-minded. This ain't nothing but love. This is love. This is true love. When I first talked to Rondell and April, it was like, oh my God, y'all family. Cortez, family. Everybody we talk to and meet. When people fly over here on their trips that they want to check everything out, and their scouting trips, and they want to have breakfast or something with us, and we'll sit down with them and have breakfast, and we say, it's okay, bring it, because everything will change for you.
Wow.
Everything. Your stress will go away.
Oh, for sure.
The final thought we give him, let everybody out. We got a question on one of the Facebook pages. The question was, do you foresee more men of color moving abroad in the near future, or do you think that you are just a rare breed?
I think we're far from being a rare breed.
Oh yeah.
I think this is just beginning. It's just beginning. And if not for anything else but the safety of our children, the safety of our male children growing up, for our female children growing up, there's too much out here. This world's too big. It's too big.
Yeah.
And you ain't got to go through all that craziness. You ain't got to go through all that hate. Come out here, get like-minded. Come out here, meet your family.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll leave the light on.
One of my buddies used to say to me all
The next
the time,
movement.
with that whole dysfunction in the United States, is they've been plucking us and plucking us and picking at us and picking at us. Eventually, you're going to go, stop it, cut it out. And you're going to want to leave. You're going to want to do something about it. And I think that for me, I got tired of it. And I think that there are going to be a lot of other brothers out there that are going to get tired of it and are already tired of it and don't know what to do or how to do it. And that we need to reach out to them. Maybe some of the sisters out there can actually lead some of them to the YouTube channels and see some of the content, see some of the conversations, get this information, because it's not that difficult. And all you have to do is just put forth a little effort to make these things happen. With regard to passports, visas, and things like that, it's not a hard thing to do. It's just having the courage to step out there on faith and get this done, because there's a lot more out here than just, the United States. Rick probably knows this. I'm a big motorsports fan, and one of my big fantasies is to follow the Formula One circuit for 1 year to every country. And they go to 22 and different and diverse countries. And I hope to make it to a few of them. I don't know if I'll make all of them, but I hope to make a few of them. And that's, one of the things that I like about being here on this planet is the differences in people and culture and how they do things. But we're all one race, and that's the human race. There's no black and white out here. There's just the human race. So I try to treat everybody with the same respect, and I try to look at everybody as family.
Beautiful.
Being from the South, there are places that I travel where I get in some of these little corner places, and you stop at the gas station or you stop at the corner store, and you're looking for people of color. You're looking, you identify that, you identify that one black brother, and you go, hey.
Give him that nod.
Oh yeah.
When we traveled abroad, and seeing a brother of color or a sister of color, it wasn't I'm glad you're here, was I see you too.
I see you.
Yeah.
And I want us to do more of I see you too.
Yeah.
And I thank each and every one of you gentlemen for taking some time to step into this conversation. I'm hoping we can do this again in some other format. We can add some other people. To all the people who stepped in on the comments today, I see you. I hear you. It's a great to meet brothers. It's great to make brothers.
Right.
And I will be coming each and every one of you to meet you personally, because that's my goal, is to take my golden girl and see the world. And I appreciate y'all giving us some destinations to come to, some options to look at. We are H&D Abroad. If you're new to our station, if you're coming back to our station, we ask you to subscribe. We ask you to hit that notification bell. We ask you to share this video. I'm going to put a description in for each one of these gentlemen who were here today. Please go to their pages, support them. These are a great group of men who I've just made family. And we hope we can make them in their process family too.
Family's not about blood so much as it's about kinship and friendship, and that is what family is.
Absolutely.
You can always choose who's in your family. You can always choose.
So, Cartes, we thank you. We're glad you were
Thank
here,
you.
man. And click in, link in. Let's get some more people to get pages so we can make connections together.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Cartes, before you go, since you had to pop out, do you have any last comments you wanted to make?
I didn't hear you.
I said, since you popped back in, were there any last comments you wanted to make before we close out?
Oh yeah, I mean, just get out there, man. Just see what's out there for yourself. Don't listen to family, friends, media. You jump out there and see. I promise it'll be the biggest surprise of your life, and life changing. So just go for it. Just get out there and try.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Miss Amos, any last words?
Thank y'all for having me. Ditto to everything that was been
So
said.
y'all got a bad guy, baby.
Rondell,
Y'all get out there and see the world. Get out there and see the world. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other last comments? Rondell, we appreciate you having some time with us in the middle of your carnival, man.
Enjoy
Y'all
that.
vanguard.
Enjoy
Y'all
that
vanguard, man.
carnival. Enjoy that
Oh,
carnival.
we about to enjoy that for
Rondell.
sure.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all.
Miss you,
Peace and
brother.
love, man.
Come on out here, Reggie. Come on. Join us in these streets, man.
I'm looking so forward to it. I'm looking forward to
All right.
getting
We're
into
looking
a new
forward to having
culture,
you.
food, language, all of that. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
We are so motivated. Thank you all.
Bless you all.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.